I think we're live. Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to see the chat is already pretty filled up. We got a new iMac in our living room, and it is really dark in my studio, so I'm doing it from the living room here. Hopefully, no one comes down. If they do, they just have to be on the internet. Quick heads up for those of you that did not know, this will not be a live track reaction. We really can't do that anymore, with the exception of small unknown artists where there's no risk of copyright issues, and obviously original music. So with that being said, I wanted to come on here. We haven't done a live on YouTube since we got that strike, so it's been quite some time, and I figured this would be the perfect time to come on and just open it up and talk. This has been just an absolutely crazy series of events this last 18 months or 20 months or however long it's been. And for those of you that saw the Umphrey's video with me sitting in with them, it was just a tremendous time, and I'm so grateful, and I'm literally just still smiling. I share a lot of the story on the Dropped Amongst This Crowd podcast with Sarah that'll be out soon. But I am also, because so many people have requested it, going to do a video, like a react or whatever, of the actual performance, because I think that there's a lot of teachable moments in there, because there's a couple screw ups, there's a couple miscues, and when you go to sit in with a band that you've never played before, especially when you do a cover, anybody that's done a lot of gigs will know this is true. Everybody plays covers their own way, and even big, huge songs that everyone knows, most bands do it a little bit wrong, or in a different key, or cut the last verse, or have a part that's in there that's not, or not have a part that should be. And so there's a bunch of things like that happen during that song that I'm going to make a proper video and point out, because I do think they're cool, teachable moments. So with that being said, I want to open it up to the comments. I want to welcome TL back. I don't know if he's in the chat yet. All the mods. Beware. We got Vandy, Jackdog, Jimbo, Fantasy, Tom Havlin, Nelson J, Roman P. Good to see you. No, I think I've gotten gas in Tucson, Arizona. Angry Shoebox. Yeah. Well, so that's one of the things I'm going to talk about on the video, is that Bayless really hung back, like laid down one simple part, but the burden of making sit-ins work is not just on the person sitting in, it's the band as well. So especially if there's going to be an interaction, a main interaction between, say, the two guitar players or whatever it might be, you have to make sure you create a secure and predictable foundation for it to go wherever you anticipate it might go. And so, it was perfect. They made it effortless. Like, this is like the best. They're fantastic. Okay. Billy Strings loves me. Do you know Billy? I've been trying to get in touch with Billy. When I first did one of his videos, he did DM me on Instagram, but then went dark. I would love to connect with Billy and see Billy very, 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 very much. Oh, thank you. Been getting into home recording and have been using an amp simulation for my guitar sounds. Man, Dolan, this is not my expertise. There are plenty of other channels that go way, way deep in that. I'm I always just plug direct, find a simple, good sound, and stick with it. I don't generally mess with it if I'm recording direct. I'm excited to get back to playing amps and mics and do that. I appreciate you, Ryan. Cashew, how are you? Mr. Tonic, good to see you. We need to do that amp chat finally. We need to schedule it and make it public. I think a lot of people would find it fascinating what it goes into building an amp and how you set that up. Yeah, Eminence Front is an awesome tune. So did I decide on it in advance and they give their chart of it? Yeah, there was no chart. There was no rehearsal. Actually, for sound check, I wish I had video of this, but my cousin JC, who's in Moody Moose, that band I've played with here on the channel, wasn't there yet, and so I didn't have anybody to hold the camera, and the main cameras weren't on. But anyway, for sound check, we were doing chicken picking. We were doing straight country licks, like didn't even get into a heavy sound at all, and basically, he was like, "What do you want to do? We can do whatever you want." I said, "We have a, big list of covers if you want to do a cover." And I was like, I do because that is me playing to my strengths. I've played in cover bands for a very long time in a diverse kinds of cover bands, sat in with bunch of different people, and I'm gonna know what's going to work no matter what they do with it, right? And so this was a big opportunity for me, like a big stage. So I really wanted to go with the crowd killer, something that everybody loves, something that the band already does and does well, something that I am completely comfortable following or stretching out as long as they want. And having it be fairly straightforward. So I went on YouTube to search Umphrey's McGee covers, and like the first or second one was them doing Eminence Front with Jimmy Herring, and I watched it and I was like, okay, they stretch it out, but it's just the two basic parts. They get those hits. It's like I just did a react video on Eminence Front like a month or so ago. I know the tune, and so I just texted it to Jake the day of the show, and he goes, "Yeah, sure thing. We do it in E." That was it. Yeah, because Eminence Front is an F, and so that was it. There was nothing else happened. Nothing else happened, which was very flattering, honestly. Because it meant that they were not worried about having me be a guest, which is so great, honestly. I mean, anybody that watched that live stream with Jake and with Stasek could tell that we definitely connected on a musical level and a personal level. But if you haven't seen someone play, I mean, there's very little footage of me playing around, because most of the parties and everything I played were private, and no one's getting video. And if you do, there's certainly not anything better than phone audio. And so if you haven't seen someone play and you invite them to sit in with you, that you've also never met in person before, that's kind of a big deal for a really big band to do, any band, frankly. So that was the fact that they were just like, "Yeah, sweet, Eminence Front, it's in E." Not worried about it at all. Like, had no conversation, no rehearsal. Just we sound checked a country song. Like, didn't even do Eminence Front for a sound check. It was awesome. Nathan, that's the nature of the scene. Yeah, that's the vibe I got, and I dig it. It was awesome. Tubes, yeah. So I played my PRS MT15 for the gig, and I brought a tuner and a wah-wah pedal and a clean boost. That's it. And I just used the red channel, gain around 4 o'clock ish, something like that. like up to 4, not over to 4, but up to 4. And that's it. Nothing else to it. But yeah, all tubes all day if you can have them. Yeah. And everyone went to the bridge without missing it. Yeah, well, there are a lot of cues. I mean, again, anybody that gigs a lot, especially that has guests a lot, or that has to learn a lot of new songs, like it's a constantly changing rotation of songs, you always rely on at least one person in the band knowing where all the hits are. And so there's a lot of, we're doing this together. All right. Great questions in the chat. Okay, you got to ping me. We're moving fast here. Yeah. Simple. I don't have a big pedal board. Like, to whoever's question that was just asked about having a good sound recording at home in their computer, I kind of have the same live approach playing. I generally have just a couple good sounds that I know exactly what it's going to do and I feel expressive on, right? So I need my clean to be like super snappy and tight, and chimey, for lack of a better words, but like, and I'm like, okay, I got that. And then I need a dirty sound that the older I get, it gets less and less gain. But what's really important is the sustain. Sustain is king. Like that's everything. So it needs to be really stiff in the bottom end, like for chugging power chords or anything palm muted. It has to be very, very stiff. And it has to sustain for days, but I don't really need a bunch of gain. And then I use the volume knob to ride my volume. And then when I go to take a lead, I generally just do a clean boost. So I just push the amp just a little bit more. And that's it, man. And if you use like a wah-wah, you'll get a little bit of boost with that too. But that's pretty much it. Just find stuff that you know how to use where you're not thinking about your tone. You're just thinking about your playing. That's always been a goal of mine. Just remove the impediments to thinking about the playing. So find a couple usable things that are great to you and accentuate your strengths, and then worry about the music. And I've also found that a lot of my favorite guitar players have that approach, at least to their live playing. They just do. All right. Oh, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Did I hear you say that vocalist singers are more melodic lead players? Well, generally speaking, that I would say that that's true. But I think it's good to define what we mean when we say a vocalist and singer and melodic lead players. For example, there are many players who, because they sing and they write the songs, do generally play a lot of single note lead lines that mimic a voice. So that's one part, right? That's one option there, one lane. The other one is like your quintessential blues player, where they're singing, but then when they actually go to play, like Albert King, Buddy Guy, the classic examples, right? Their playing does not mimic their vocal lines. Sometimes they'll audiate like a Robert Cray, but he straddles the two. He's excellent, really excellent. But you'll see players, or like the Iceman. You'll see them audiate the notes that they're playing on guitar, but those are not vocal melodies that they sung earlier in the song. So you got to differentiate the two. But generally speaking, guitar players that sing are at least much more aware of the melody. Even if they don't always choose to play it, they're at least aware of the melody and its role in the song, and don't get caught up as easily as the rest of us do in just, how do I play over this, right? Okay. Thank you, Vandy. Thank you. And thank you, Fantasy. I do appreciate. Oh, I have news on this front. One of our subscribers, I hope he's in here. I'm just going to say his first name, Scott, wrote to me and donated a free lifetime membership to anybody of my choosing. So if there's anybody out there that would like to be a member and just financially it's just not possible at all, just write me and I'll pick one of you. I mean, I'm sure one of you I'm sure it'll be very clear which one to pick. So thank you, Scott, for doing that. And I almost forgot that. Yeah, I sincerely appreciate that. And so, yes, just email me, support@guitargate.com. If you've wanted to join the community but could never afford it, Scott donated a lifetime membership. So I will pick one of you. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I know. Scott is great. Scott is... It's the vibe of the community. It just is. So bro, elements of Bray. So I give the same advice to everyone, but it's always worth re-sharing it, because every single stream it seems like there's somebody asked this question. Don't worry about brand. Get the guitar that feels the best in your hands at whatever price you can afford. Used gear is a fantastic option. The vast majority of instruments, anything that I've purchased music related, has been used, because the stuff, if it's been taken care of, doesn't go bad. It's not like a car or something, right, that has a shelf life. So you can buy a much higher model and have it be older and there's no negative things about it, you know? And don't care if it's got a ding or a dent. Great, it'll be cheaper, right? All you should worry about is how it feels in your hand. And even if you can't describe why something you don't like how it feels, or you really do, just buy the one that you can't put down. The sound, of course, is extremely important, but you have to imagine you have to imagine yourself coming home and dealing with all the other stuff that you've dealt with in your life, and choosing to pick that thing up and keep it in your hands because you're excited, instead of doing anything else you can do. And you could go in there and thinking it's going to be a Gibson or a Martin or a Taylor or whatever, and you could leave with some old beat up Guild that's like a 1981 and it's got a ding, and it just feels great and rings like a bell, and you'll be so happy you did. I want an old Guild. Okay. All right. Dime Life. What's happening? It has strings and stays in tune. Yep. Thank you, Dustin. Dizzy. I have 1,000 questions, but I really want to know, are you running through your head, or are you on autopilot up there? Autopilot. I had a couple beers before the show. And that was mostly, I didn't intend to have like 3 or 4 beers before I played, but I ended up, there was a thunderstorm with lightning. And they closed the show down. I was supposed to play at the end of the first set, and we didn't know it was going to go back up. And so we were all hanging out backstage, just like unsure whether it was going to go back or not. So that helped ease the nerves. But anybody that has gigged a lot with a lot of different people in scenarios where you've never played with people before, songs you've never learned, it's just like anything else. Once you hit the first note, if you know the song, it evaporates. And so I learned that at GIT. having to play hundreds of shows with people, for my peers, and with people I've never played before in different genres, and playing in cover bands, doing hundreds, maybe even 1,000 shows. Again, a bunch of different genres, bunch of different players. So as long as you know the song, the main issue is that what I mentioned before is, does this band do things different than the record? We know it's in a different key. Like that middle break part. Do they do it once? Do they do it twice? Do they cycle it? Do they catch that drop where when it goes back into the verse, it doesn't finish that 4 bar? Do they catch it on the 3 like it does on the record? I don't know. So you're just paying very, very close attention. And if you notice and you watch the video, I really don't look out into the audience because I'm listening intently in every moment by moment. But no, complete autopilot, fun, just complete overwhelming joy. But because I've done that many shows in that style, I knew once we hit the first note, it would just be, it'd be full send. It'd be amazing. It'd be great. Let's see here. Oh, Tom, thank you so much. Nice. Yeah. So I know all of you are experiencing this, but if you haven't been to a live show since the pandemic happened, it is an absolutely celebratory, joyous environment. The band, the crew, the promoters, the vendors, everybody in the audience, everybody is absolutely ecstatic. Like no one cared that it rained. No one cared. Like it was an absolute outpouring of positive energy. Same thing at the Goose Show, right? That was my first. Umphrey's my second. I mean, just an absolute, like a fire hose of just like, oh my God, I can't believe we're here. This is amazing. That's just what it felt like. Dustin, thank you for the donation, man. Really appreciate you guys. I'm not used to being so close and blocking the face. So how do you set EQ when you step into a gig like that? Is there a kind of rule of thumb around setting EQ? Thanks. Just brought your Udemy class. Can't wait to dive in more. All right, I will answer that. But real quick, I know that I have a big class on Udemy, and I know that they market the crap out of it. I have nothing to do. I haven't taught on Udemy in years for a few reasons, but basically it's just not all of my new stuff, all of my current stuff, everything that's going to be in the future, the whole community, the chat, me answering questions, that is all on GuitarGate. So I'm sure you paid a very little bit because they always run like price gouging promotions, but just know that if you want to actually like, interact with me, I don't do it on Udemy anymore. I had to make that decision. But once you post something, it's for life. You can't like remove it because people buy lifetime access. It's kind of like one of those things. All right. Next. Okay. So how do you set the EQ? So I don't really change EQ from gig to gig. Again, it's kind of like what I said before. You find one good sound. And so when we were doing sound check, what was important to me was that my maximum stage volume with wah and everything was the exact same thing as Jake's. So I just asked him to play full volume. So what's your full volume? And he went full volume on the heavy channel. And I just made sure the level was the same. And then I always start in the middle. And since I knew, I didn't know if I was going to stay on the clean channel for the rhythm parts. But I knew I was obviously going to click into they were a heavy band. I had a feeling I was going to click into red, certainly for the lead I was expecting to. So I listened to his cleaner sound and his, boosted, dirtier sound. And if his would have been really, really trebly, which I expected it might be because the single coil pickups, I would have purposefully, got out of that band. You know what I mean? I would have changed it, but just a little bit, So that's really the thing. The volume clash is the most important, and then it's more just making sure there's not any glaring EQ, like we're totally in each other's zones. I wasn't worried about it because I knew he's playing single coils. I knew that Bayless always plays a PRS with humbuckers, and so they already have their sounds blended in that way. So I really wasn't worried about it. I just wanted to make sure that since they're all in-ears and they put one monitor out in front of me, which I didn't put any of my guitar really into. It was just the rest of the band, because I really don't like guitars as my monitors. I just wanted to make sure that when we were playing on stage, there was never an issue of a blend and both of us not being able to hear each other, because I didn't have in-ears, right? And so I wanted it to just be like on stage, what I can control. Let me just make sure there's clear definition between the two of us. And that's it. So it's never like I always craft one thing. All right. So, the Shaky Graves interview, another one that went dark. But he is coming to the Hot August Music Festival here in August, along with Kingfish, and actually, there's a pretty legit lineup. Let me pull it up. Shaky Graves, Kingfish, Lettuce, Green Sky Bluegrass, Andy Frasco, Dancing Bears, which is a Dead tribute, who are actually coming to the barn to film a Dead rhythm section workshop and concert that we're going to post on YouTube. But the rhythm section workshop is for the website, and that's happening this month. So I know so many of us have been waiting for part 2 of the Grateful Dead course, and that is being filmed with the Dancing Bears, this band, this month. And then you got a couple others. So what I've done is I've reached out to Shaky Graves management, and I'm going to do the same with Kingfish and Green Sky, and I'll probably do a Lettuce one. I have to see who is interested, but I am going to see if I can't. I don't know what their tour schedules are like, but my barn is like 20 minutes from this venue. So I'm going to see if anybody wants to do an interview while I'm there, or if they happen to have a half day or 2 hours the day before or something like that. If they want to come over to the barn and play a couple tracks, that's really what I want to have happen. I really want the barn to be set up, even though I use it every day for work, to be set up so if a guest comes through and they have like an hour or something, we can do like 2 to 3 songs, have it plug and play, and they can go, and it's just awesome. So I'm hoping that happens with one of them. I'd love it to be Shaky, love it to be Kingfish. I mean all of them, but obviously that's not going to happen. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you. I really do. You guys are making all this possible. You really are. This is completely wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you guys right here in the chat choosing to watch the videos and ask questions and share. It's literally the result of you. Yeah. Sessions from the barn, all caps. That's exactly. I'm just call them barn sessions or barn burners or something. But yeah, just like you have like a live at Daryl's house, or just like Paste Magazine or any of the others. They have people come through and it's real casual and it's set up, but it's like professional. And they get to be on your channel, and it's a whole. And like maybe we could do an interview. I would love to have that. Umphrey's is into it. At least Jake. This is a funny story. So I am talking to Jake about the barn because he's got a, his whole setup is on like his family's compound farm in Michigan, and he likes to do everything at full volume, and like that's like the best part of being on a farm is you can do everything at full volume. And we were talking about how, what happens when like, you're in the middle of this field and this farm and you hear the animals. It's, it's not like your quintessential like recording studio. You're like on a farm. And it's a working farm. And so what do you do when it's pouring down rain and you hear it on the roof? And what do you do, if it's windy or there's birds chirping or whatever? And he's like, oh yeah, well, that just dictates what we're going to write that day. And I was like, exactly. It's like, exactly. So I was like, why don't you come to the barn, whatever weather it is, we'll have no plan whatsoever. And you can hang out for a day or two and just, we'll let the amount of reverb we use be however we put the couches in the barn, and make little bass traps. We'll just see what we create based on whatever's going on there. And that happened that day. And he's like, yeah, great. We'll do an EP in 2 days. Love it. Let's talk after the tour. I was like, so I really hope that comes to fruition. Yeah, stage volume. Stage volume is everything. It's everything. Tips for getting your first gig. Walter, this is a good question. The answer is unclear, and it's very hard right now, as you know, because every single person that gigs hasn't been gigging for 2 years. And so every relationship is being pulled, to let them have the Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like they're all pulling strings, like to all their bar owners and everything else like that. Every small bands, huge bands, everyone's vying for the same venues on all the same nights. So you're in a rough spot there. That will calm down though. But then the difference is obviously, are you doing solo acoustic? Are you doing originals? Are you doing covers? Are you trying to join a band? The best thing to do, honestly, is go out where bands play in your town, meet people, get to know it, form relationships, meet the bartenders, tip them well, meet the owner of the place if they're around. Sit in with bands if you can, so that people see you. Just enter the scene. Be present on the scene wherever you are in your town. That's really the best advice. Because if you're just starting out, and again, I don't know if you're trying to join a band, start a band, solo, or whatever, you have to physically enter the scene, pretty much. So I wish you luck, my friend. Okay. Yes, I saw that. Yes, Arrow Posen is an absolute tone monster. Okay. Man, these chats are going fast. Yeah, that's it. You have to go do that. Patrick, which one is my favorite? So, I mean, I think the answer to this will be, again, what do you put in that category? As far as on the scene, like this specific scene, like touring bands, I don't think, and again, I don't know if you would put them in the jam band category, but I don't see how you can exclude them. But I don't think there's a better touring band in America than Tedeschi Trucks. I just don't think there is. And Umphrey's, like, honest, I mean this sincerely. I'm uncertain why they're in the same category and circuit as a widespread or a Mo or Lettuce or Goose or Fish or even Dead and Company. It's kind of bizarre to me because I saw, like, we did an absolute country chicken picking whatever thing, and then I saw them and I heard them on other places do before, like run the gamut of like, I mean, straight up country and Western, but like really good. And then into like a slow, like 6/8 blues, really good. And then into like a freaking odd time face melter that the only other band you would see do it would be like Tool. And again, really good. And it's just fascinating to me. And all the progressive stuff. Here's what I'm trying to say. It is really difficult to get good at multiple genres, like extremely proficient. And most of the bands in any circuit, not just the jam band circuit, are really good at the thing that they do. Very few of them, like really no bands, frankly, are really, really good in completely unrelated cross genres. You know, like, so I think they exist on their own island. I do. I think they exist on their own island. But as far as touring bands out there on tour, playing extended improvised jams, Tedeschi Trucks has to be the best in the game. It's my opinion. Yeah, exactly. Alex, what did Van Halen mean to me? Everything. You know, it I mean, it's just, I feel like everything that can be said has been said. But there's so many virtuosic players, incredible virtuosic players. But there's really only two that there was like a before and an after for electric guitar. And like where everything changed, gear changed, everything changed, right? And legions of players tried to, whatever. And that's obviously Hendrix. And then it happened with Van Halen. Whole industries haven't been changed like those two changed in literally entire industries. They both had, a completely new, thing. And they both had the songs because you need a delivery vehicle. It's why people like that are great players. Like if you like Satriani and you like Vai and you like Malmsteen and you like all these like, really incredible players. They don't have the songs as a vehicle to reach non-musicians to ever reach that high scale. It's just true. So you have the absolute, wizardry of the instrument. And then you have the songs to back it up, which you create, right? You write. But then the overwhelming takeaway for me with Van Halen is the absolute and complete joy with which he played. He's literally floating on air. There is no bad note. Completely and totally fearless. The channel wide open at every moment. Just smile ear to ear. Super loud. Just was the complete physical and total embodiment of the reason we want to play electric music loud for thousands of people. Just the physical, everything, it was just so much joy. And that was always the takeaway for me. I always wanted to be that happy when I play. And so I feel I pretty much am, like I definitely feel that way. I can be a really big goober on stage and just smile my face off and just be like not able to not be like completely excited. Okay. I don't know him. I'm sorry we can't play any music right now. I do want to do more. So just like Sean, if any of you out there would love to come and share your music, or someone that doesn't have it copyrighted, or there's, not like, oh, I don't think that band would do it, but I mean like an actual like unknown, unsigned artist, I would love for this platform on YouTube to be a place for that. I would love for this to be an organic place where we can spread awareness of young up and coming, or people that like never got proper exposure. Like that is what I would really like to have happen here on YouTube, since we have a strike, and if I do any live streams on anything else copyrighted, I'm going to lose the ability to live stream at all. And then if it happens again, they take the channel. So we have to be like extremely certain that that's not an issue. So like if you wrote it and you're a member of the community, like Sean, like come on, let's hear it. That's what I'm talking about. All right, now where we are, I got to keep doing this thing. Yeah, so here's the deal. The video matters too. Just think about it for people that try to put up clips of films, people that are illustrative artists and the whole deal. It all matters. And with music, like for example, what is that huge company that like manages all the bands right now and like runs like all the tour? Live Nation. I did that Barnes Courtney video, and Barnes has had some big songs, but he's certainly not, he's certainly not a blocker, and I talked to him and got permission to use his song and thought we were in the clear, and Live Nation blocked it. They don't own the rights to the song, but they own the rights to the actual video that was recorded there. And it came down because it was a visual thing, because it was their video. So it's everything. Let's see. Johnny, you just found Jason Isbell. Man, he is one of those guys that I'm absolutely floored that I somehow in my world, and I love the crafting of songs, like the wordsmanship, if you will. I cannot believe I was not familiar with him or his work until one of you, I forget who it was, requested that I react to it. I listened to Jason Isbell this entire weekend. Yeah, I don't need to say anymore. I mean, like, dude, you're welcome. Like, we're all welcome. Unbelievable wordsmith and player, and now it's like absolutely adore. I cannot wait for him to come to town. Okay. Probably Anchor Drops, I would say. Anchor Drops. I'm sure all the people in the comments are going to have very particular recommendations, but I feel like that is a great entry point, very accessible, and it's pretty diverse, and so it showcases a bunch of different things that they do. Wait, Become the Night does live reactions to me? What? Is that true? Where? On YouTube? No, he doesn't. I've seen him do one video, but he does live reactions. All right. I got to see this. I got to search for it. Fire him a message right now. Okay. All right. Let me share the screen. You can see me do it with you. Okay. Well, look, I'm being recommended my whole thing. Do a live reaction of a live reaction. I wonder if he... I saw the one video he did where he like reacted to it. But it wasn't just me. It was like a bunch of them. And Skyrim live stream. You got to link me up. You got to link me up for him doing a live stream to a live stream. I was unaware that was happening, and I think that's hilarious. All right. Anyway, just link me up. If you do that, I'll put it up here, and we'll see what it is. Yes, 100%. I'm going Dead and Company. You better believe it. Yeah, you better believe it. I mean, absolutely. And again, I didn't say Dead and Company when you asked, jam band in that scene, because I do also believe it. I think they're like their own universe. Like that music I know is what started it all. But that is its own force of gravity in the universe. Yeah, I'm at least going to go to 2. And I don't know if anybody out there is going. My wife and I haven't gone on a vacation since we've had kids. We never took a honeymoon. So 10 years and 4 kids later, we have never taken a vacation to a beach or an island or something and left the kids for an extended period of time. So I sprung for it. Like, we got tickets to the Playing in the Sand in Mexico in January, and we're going to go. It's the first weekend. So if anybody's going to be there, let me know. So I'm like literally, we've never done any of these all-inclusive things. Like, we never took a honeymoon. We never could afford it. We never had childcare. And when the pandemic happened and we didn't go anywhere for wherever, I was like, screw it. I'm booking it. I'm booking it. And if I know that I'm there and Mare is there for 5 days and we're both trapped in the same resort, that, unless I can get in touch with them ahead of time, that is when I will probably use my chip, my PRS chip that I've never cashed in, a favor to say, Paul, you got to shoot him a message, see if he wants to meet. Because we met once before at NAMM. So it won't be the first time. But if there was ever a perfect opportunity for an interview, that would be it. So I'm hoping that happens. It probably won't, but I bet you I can get Paul to shoot him a message. I'm sure I can. His videos are in millions of views for free. All right. So, no, Delfest. I would love to go to Delfest. Hey, Nick, welcome. Nazareth, you came in a little late. This question was already asked. We're shooting for it in August. He's coming to my town, and I'm going to see if I can either get one at the show or if I can peel him off for a couple hours to come to the barn. He's playing about 20 minutes from my barn. Favorite Pantera track. I was just having this conversation with Stasek on the tour bus. He was like, I've been giving it a lot of thought since our stream, and I think Far Beyond Driven is my favorite Pantera album. And for those of you that didn't know or might have missed that, he said that he and Jake, I'm pretty sure Jake said too, because I asked him. He just nodded his head. I don't remember if he used words, but said that Stacey for sure said that Pantera, he's seen Pantera more than any band in history, like over 100 times. Like Pantera is the band, which is like amazing. I was just like, you're like people, man. Like you play improvised, long form, music, but your foundation is in Pantera. Like we're just like, of course we get along. And I would almost have to agree with him. I would say, Becoming is up there. Becoming is huge. Primal Concrete Sledge, just the groove, the patented Pantera power grooves. Use My Third Arm, super underrated track. Super underrated. Yeah, one of those. Okay. Got a lot. Timothy, you're going. Great. Let's make it. Are you going to the first or second weekend? Let's make it. Let's make a point to hook up. Fantasy, are you going too? We're trapped. Yeah. All right. Eddie Block, Colin Hay is an amazing storyteller and troubadour. Okay. All right. Eddie, shoot me an email at support.guitargate.com with a link with one video, and I will remember your name. Thank you for the donation. Okay. No, I have not heard that Counting Crows has a new album. Oh, people love it. Not really. That's a real hard cookie to crack, man. And I've found that to be the case with a lot of the jazz guys. Not as into the internet as some of the others. It's an interesting thing. It's not surprising since I've known so many over my life. But I don't think the jazzers dig what I do, or just internet promotion in general. Like it's not nearly as part of the industry as it is for other genres. It's interesting. Because they play really complicated stuff, so there's so much stuff to talk about. There's so much stuff to teach. Maybe some of them don't want to teach. I don't know, but I send a message to basically everyone that I do a video on. Most of the time, they send a message to me before I can to them, unless they're huge. But I really don't do that many big artists. And like the jazz, the quote unquote jazz guys, with the exception of like Oz Noy, basically don't respond. I don't know if that means anything. Okay. Docking. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You guys know my bluegrass background. I love Del McCurry. I've seen Del McCurry multiple times. I would love to go to. Let's see when Delfest is. September 23rd and 26th. Isn't that when I can't do the weekend? I have two shows that weekend. I'm doing the Outlaw Country thing here with Willie Nelson, Sturgill, or is it Chris Stapleton? God, I can't keep these all in my brain. Yeah, Willie Nelson Sturgill, Nathaniel Rateliff, Government Mule, doing that, and then on Sunday, I am going to the hopefully in Baltimore, the Guns N' Roses with Mammoth WVH opening. I want to see Wolfie. I mean, who doesn't love a little GNR in their evening? But I want to see Wolfie play live, like his music. Like I want to be there to support his ass. Like I want to hear it. So I already have 2 that weekend. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like one, everything costs money, and like no one has enough. 2, like to go to every show they want. 2, all these bands are vying for these same venues and same weekends, and since you can only be in one place one time, you can't do everything. And 3, you can't go to a show every night. It's hard. If I can find a way to peel off for Saturday, I will, because that's not that far from me. And I adore Bluegrass. Okay. Dan Tominski is great. Nathan, you live in St. Augustine? I was just in St. Augustine in November. Love St. Augustine. Absolutely love it. I have family in Jacksonville Beach area, and I've always felt like one day if I ever moved or something, it would be to that little stretch, that little crescent from Charleston, through Savannah, and it kind of like ends at St. Augustine. That little crescent there is a really special part of the country. Okay. Yes, I know. I need to do that. And you know what? That's one where I wouldn't need to wait like 6 or 8 months and work stuff up to feel confident teaching it. God, there's just so much to do. Yes. Oh, you're in Clearwater. I have friends in Clearwater. No. We DM'd a little bit, and then he went dark. So, and he's one I really want to talk to, because, he is like, everybody walks different paths, but from my understanding, it's like really similar. Like he, I believe, like grew up a metalhead like me, and then got hooked on bluegrass like me, and then has found his way into the jam dead scene and is embracing it and being embraced by it like me. And there's so much I would love to talk to him about that. Like it is such a interesting progression, and he's like exploding, and he's just a tremendous guitar player. Like all those bluegrass licks and metal licks, it's like the same. It's like the same physical thing. It translates immensely well. And I'd love to hear about that, but then also, pushing to like the new kind of vein he's on, and how it's kind of changing the way that he's playing in a different new way. I would be fascinated to have that conversation with him, because I have very strong feelings and personal experiences surrounding it. Okay. Let's see. Looking for a good chicken picking tutorial. Man, they're hard to find, but like guys like Guthrie Trapp are putting out some pretty good stuff these days. Brent Mason has courses. They're a little older. Yeah, I know. I appreciate you trying. I think, who knows? I'm just an internet guy. These guys want to tour they want to play music, they want to write music, they want to enjoy the road if they, as much as they can. Like when you're in the pandemic and everyone's stuck at home, it's one thing. But now it's like if people are going to do interviews, they have to do it from their hotel or their bus or backstage, or like they're already like doing what they've been waiting to do forever. So I'm not surprised at all that it's going to get harder when the pandemic comes through, which is why I want to start, as we continue to grow, I want to start, going to shows, and the ones that are near me, trying to pull people off for a song or two or something like that. At least with the bands that really dig what I do, and you guys, the community. So we just got to keep getting bigger and keep trying, and things will keep happening for us. Work. Hard work. It's music. It's just like anything else. You play your circuit until something happens and someone gives you a chance to bump up a circuit, and then that kind of makes you legit in that little circuit. But it's just like you just don't ever stop. You just keep doing, try to get better, and that's what we do here. Okay. Oh. Matt, thank you so much. I used to play guitar, but I never had the beat in me. But I'm a music lover, hardcore. Your channel is awesome. More Stevie Ray. Yeah, dude. I know. I do need to do more Stevie Ray. Obviously, if you guys have been watching this for any length of time, you know that I try very hard to strike a balance between, big established bands that I know and love, bands I've never heard of, super lead guitar centric bands, and also acoustic songwriters. I try to strike a pretty large balance, and I shoot to upload or go live like every other day. So like if I do 3 or 4 in a week, I mean, you could do this for 100 years and not cover everything that you want to cover. It's a really hard thing. But the Stevie one I should do more of, because he is one of my absolute idols, and I've spent a great deal of time studying him, and he's one of the 3 like real, like, true foundations of my electric guitar playing. And so I feel like I have a very deep grasp of from where he's coming. Done many a deep dive. Okay. Yeah, I do awesome. That's the goal. I try to do awesome. Yeah. I need to do a Sean Lane. Perfect example. Sean Lane has come up in these Tuesday live streams a bunch. He's been on the list. Got to do it. I know. It never stops. Andy Wood. Yes, I've had the pleasure to meet Andy Wood and see him play. Dude's an absolute monster. Super nice guy, too. And he's putting out a bunch of great content, too. I definitely recommend you checking him out. Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for recommending awesome music. Let's see here. Have I heard of Cole Chaney? No, I have not. Calvin T. In my daily life, which artist band do you think you listen to the most? I mean, honestly, man, it's the same as all of us. It has to be. You go on kicks based on things that you really can't encounter, or you can't, whatever. There are staples, and staples never go away, but sometimes you get a new staple will find you. So, I'm still a very heavy rotation listening to Grateful Dead and Dead and Company. a bunch of different versions. I'm trying to get to a place where I'm comfortable enough to teach the next part of this course, and you can't rush it. Like you can't teach it till you get better at it. You can make a crap course, but I'm really trying to never do any crap. At least if I'm charging for it, right? If it's a free YouTube video and I upload something that really isn't my best, no one's paying for it, so it's not a big deal. But if you're paying your hard-earned money for it, like I need to actually know it front and back, and be confident, and that takes time. And when it's a new genre, it's a new genre. There's a new focus. So I tend to go on deep rabbit holes where I never listen to other things. I just get locked in. But then obviously things happen too, like when Eddie Van Halen died. And I've just been binging Eddie Van Halen. It hasn't really stopped. Every time my kids have tons of sports. So when we go to sports, we're just cranking Van Halen. And I did that before for months, and I still go through big reggae phases, big bluegrass phases. It's not like I just go which way the wind blows, but I do tend to get on really long, very deep trips, and hooked on something and re-listen to the same thing over and over again. Tomo gives this advice to his students, and it is tremendous advice. I can't stress this enough, how tremendous this advice is. I forget how many he said, but he was like, limit yourself to only listening to 5 albums at a time. The brain can only take on so much input if you're trying to learn it, right? If you're trying to learn the music, if you're trying to be immersed in it, so you feel it, right? And so you have to limit yourself if you're trying to focus on it. It doesn't mean you can't deviate a little here and there and put the radio on, but as far as intensely trying to get to the essence of something and figure it out as a musician, you have to remove a lot of other stuff. You got to remove options, and you got to listen to the same record over and over again. Even though you just learned the solo, listen to it in your car, make it a part of you. That is tremendous advice. Okay. Mark is my spirit animal. I'm going to Mark at the Anthem in DC. I am such a fan of how absolutely fearless he is, not to mention talented, but I mean, true, complete fearlessness. He is up there in his underwear, in a robe, making up stuff on the spot, taking phone calls, drinking champagne, for hours, screaming and cursing and making incredibly filthy and inappropriate songs about subject matters that would get canceled if they were anywhere except his own channel. And he's doing it in the midst of this absolute, it feels like an absolute assault of what of what's PC and what's not, right? It's just it, and he's just becoming, I don't know. He's like a beacon of who gives a shit. I love it. It's like my literal spirit animal. I can't wait to see him. I can't wait. Okay. I saw it. He's one of the only YouTubers that I try to watch at least a piece of everything they post. I tend to make more content than I consume. But he's one of those guys. Like, you just never know what he's going to do. You never know what he's going to do. His best ones are before he popped, and it's the ones where he's doing his shtick live in like a coffee shop or something. Like, people are getting lunch. It's daylight, at some bar or whatever in Texas, and there's families and all kinds of stuff, and it's his shtick is the same. He's like not toned down at all. Amazing. Okay, Dustin, have a good one. Thanks for jumping in. No, but do you know how many people have sent me a message saying I have to stop everything I'm doing and watch it? I might watch it tonight. Just like I say, I don't really watch that many content creators. I don't really watch TV either. I mean this like no shit. Like, we just went through almost a 2-year pandemic. We're forced to be at home, and I have 4 kids. And I don't think we watched any movies. No, I watched movies with my kids, like kids movies. But as far as like my wife and I, like watching movies or a show, dude, like basically didn't happen. I like to read books. But I've been told by so many people that I have to stop everything and watch that I will. And that so many people want me to do more songs of his. I mean, he's an absolute monster. Okay. Yeah, in a bar. Corey Wong. Yes, I'll be seeing Corey Wong. You better believe it. Justin, this is a completely different skill set. It's just like when you start playing back your recordings and you make a track in the studio, and you're like, wow, I am like, this is really not good. So here's what I'll say. Light is the most important thing, even though I don't have it really right now, but on your face. So, be looking at a window, don't have a window behind you. Now, I break that rule all the time, but as a general rule of thumb, light's the most important thing in making a good quality video. As far as, so that's you looking yourself on camera. But as far as making a video where you're speaking, I'm doing it right now. The hardest thing to do is to get comfortable looking directly at the camera lens, right? And being able to hold eye contact like you're looking at a human eyeball. That is a very hard skill to get proficient at, and not rush your thoughts, not go clear your throat, and be able to take your time and get it out. Like you're watching me do it right now. That's a difficult skill that I still work on every day. And then when I go back and I watch my earlier videos from like 2013 to 15, they're basically unwatchable for me because I've been working on it for so long, just like old tracks. But yeah, there you go. Best of luck, man. Have I tried turning my kids? So we listen to a lot of music in the house. Constantly listening to music. My kids obviously like the music they hear in their video games. I can get them to appreciate some things that I really, really like, but I think all of us parents are fighting that battle of trying to keep their kids like not play as much tech as they want to. It was especially hard in the pandemic because they couldn't see friends. That was like the only time they could talk to their friends. But the music in there is what we all know it is. You know, it's squashed, it's auto-tuned, it's played by computers, there's no lyrical content really. I'm not saying there aren't hooks. I'm not saying I don't have respect for the artist, but it's like, it's not what moves me at all. Like I tell my son, I was like, I want to be able to go and see someone play, right? That, you know, if you're not doing it live, you know, that's just what moves me. You know, but you know this channel is devoted to live music, right? So, but on the other hand, you know, they like Black Sabbath, they like Led Zeppelin, they love Queen. We do a lot of James Brown dance parties. Yeah, but you know what? This is an interesting conversation. This has come up before in a live stream, and I have to find it one time. If anybody out there ever get caught in the internet vortex, you guys know I'm a big George Clinton fan, P-Funk. Probably seen him more than anybody. George Clinton has an interview where it comes up this exact topic about how kids don't want you to like what they like. He's like, I forget how he phrases it, but he's like, they don't want you to like whatever you like. They want you to not like it. And if you really don't like it, you better adapt if you want to stick around, because that's the new shit. And because I think the question was, how did you remain relevant for so many years? And I believe he's the most sampled artist in history, although hasn't gotten credit for a lot of it. But he talks about how hip hop first started coming around, because he was really one of the first to start doing, you know, limericks and rapping and rhyme. Like other people did it too, but he really made it a staple, like early. And so when hip hop and rap and everything started coming out and they started sampling songs, artists were left with the choice. Do we allow other people to use our music? Just like this YouTube thing. Are we allowing other people to use our music? Is this good? Right? Or are they stealing from us? George instantaneously understood that if he can get these up and coming artists to have his flashlight groove in there, right? That's good, because that means all these young kids are going to know who he is and going to know his sound, even if they don't know it right away, right? It's going to be in their ear hole for a whole new generation. And that's a very interesting mindset. So I do, again, very long-winded, try to strike that balance with the music that doesn't necessarily move me, but the kids like hum, they're into the music, like they want to play it 50 times in a row. I do try to put my cap on and be like, okay, what is making this impossible to get out of my son's head? How is this hook doing it, right? And yes, Mr. Tonic, you also know that your parents' music will rub off on you too. It's a combination. Yeah, they do like Queen. Yeah. It's been a long time since COVID. I know, but there's ripples in the pond, man. You drop the rock, it goes out. You don't know how it's going to go and come back. You know, or how long it's going to take. All right. Yes, this will be up. All right. Comments have kind of slowed down. We're going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for coming on here. And again, Scott, one of our fervent supporters, lifetime members on the website, has donated a free lifetime subscription to someone who needs it. So please be genuine. If you were going to subscribe or you really don't have money issues or whatever, please don't try to take it from someone who literally would love to join, but money just makes it impossible. And so if you can't afford it and you'd love to join, please message me, support@guitargate.com, and I'll hook you up. Thank you, Scott. It's incredibly generous. Thank you to all the mods. You guys always do a great job. And thanks to all of you for coming out. I know we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, that getting the copyright strike really took some wind out of my sails. I was really feeling down about it. I really still kind of am, because I view it as a foundation of the channel. And I know that we're doing it a little bit, trying to get it figured out privately. But you know, YouTube is what has the reach. So, and where people already are. You always want to meet people wherever they already are. You know, there's a reason you sell hot dogs right next to the baseball game, not 10 blocks away. Go to where people are. Basic. But I'll wrap it up by just saying again that you guys embracing me, watching the videos, recommending the videos, introducing me to new bands, helping me connect with the bands, has literally culminated in me forming relationship with these bands, and now with Umphrey's actually being able to get on the stage with them. So like, you guys literally made that all possible. And it's just the beginning. It's day one. I love you all. We're going to be doing this regularly. Stay tuned. Cheers. Have a great night.